Hi. So I thought I'd come on today and talk a little bit about our weeds. And there are a few in particular that we have growing here that are beneficial to our health and that we can use in our cooking and use as herbal remedies. And I'm going to tell you about some of them, but I do have to put out a caution that I am not a medical doctor. I am not an herbalist. I am just me, and I am learning as I go. So I thought I'd put out some information a little bit, because if you look around, you might just see a whole bunch of weeds. There's a bunch of weeds growing behind me. It's not grass. So, but every single one of those things down there are individual plants. And we have 4 or 5, 6 maybe, that can be used in food, and others that can be used as herbal remedies for different ailments. And one of them in particular is pretty strong. We don't have nearly enough to harvest and use as it needs to be used, but it can be used if you find a big patch of it. Obviously, you can use it to help different issues. So today I'm going to talk about stinging nettle, which is very common in my backyard in the shady areas, dandelion root, dandelion flower, shepherd's purse, sourgrass, and horehound. They're all growing in our backyard, and unless you knew what they were and what they looked like, you wouldn't know. And when we moved in onto this property, I had to do research and figure out what was growing in our backyard, because we have kids. When we moved in, our kids were young, and I didn't want anything to be harmful to them. We do have one weed that is pretty harmful. It's called Nightshade, and it's in the tomato family. It has these dark black berries that would probably really hurt a child. So I had to make sure that everybody knew not to touch them or pick or eat or mash it up in a outdoor nature kitchen or whatever. So yeah, so some of the plants are very dangerous. I will add on the nightshade at the end. I hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you at the end. This is Common Mallow. All parts of this plant are edible. Lots of people use them in salads or smoothies or sauteed. I've heard that cooked, they can taste a little bit like, or have the texture of okra. And if you know what that means, it's a little bit like mucusy. Some people enjoy that. This is also good as you can dry the leaves and make a tea out of them. And there also are some health benefits to eating common mallow. And here in our backyard, it just grows wild, and it can get pretty big, tall, and the roots are really strong. We have it growing in patches everywhere. Here is a very, very common weed, herb. It is called shepherd's purse, and all the parts that are above the ground are used in herbal medicine. And so that means the stem, these cute little heart-shaped leaves, and the flowers. The plant is used for circulatory issues, heart issues, other issues that it could be used for are headaches or bladder infections, nosebleeds, and it is a member of the mustard family, and it is one of the most common wildflowers on Earth, in the world. There's a lot of different names. I have a bunch of right here, a bunch of it right in this little patch. Also called blindweed, cocoa wart, lady's purse, witch's pouch. It's hard to see, isn't it? Hard to try and get it to focus because it's so thin. There are side effects if you use this incorrectly or use it correctly. So just make sure that you're aware of all the side effects. Some might be shortness of breath, pupil enlargement, drowsiness, and it's also contraindicated if you're taking blood thinners, thyroid medicines, sleep medicines or sedatives. The way to prepare it would be in a tincture, which is you dry these leaves and you put them in alcohol for a time, let it steep. You could also use this in a tea. So, shepherd's purse, good for bleeding, the heart, circulatory issues. So, be on the lookout. It's very hard to spot, but if you haven't mowed, like we haven't mowed, you can see them just above the grass. All those little shepherd's purse. What we have here is Horehound, and it is a member of the mint family, and it looks kind of fuzzy, but I guess it is a little bit, but it's there's a smooth texture to it. The leaves, or the stems, excuse me, the stems are more square. What we've used this for is respiratory issues in a tincture form, and you'll need to do a search for all the wonderful uses this amazing plant has to offer, but we have it growing wild in our backyard, and I feel pretty lucky about that. The bugs don't bother it. We have patches all around the backyard for it. They grow white flowers, they look kind of like a ball of white flowers. I don't have any in bloom right now, but we just pick the leaves or chop branches and then dry the leaves in the dehydrator and make tinctures with them. Lots of good stuff in this plant. This is stinging nettle. Out the top of it, it grows these long flower stems. It can get pretty big and bushy. People use it to help with all kinds of ailments, but people also use it culinarily, and they make pesto out of it. They can use it in their smoothies. They saute. Lots of different uses for this wild herb weed. All those little hairs are the ones that make your skin sting or react. Sometimes there's a little bit of a rash, but they're on top of the leaf, on the bottom of the leaf. Let's see if I can get the bottom of the leaf. There. And on the stem. Very useful plant, this stinging nettle. Here we have sourgrass. A lot of us know it from eating as a child. It has little heart-shaped leaves, and there are a set of 3 really cute leaves, and these beautiful yellow flowers that grow all throughout the patch. This is in the wood sorrel family. All parts of the plant are edible, so you can just pick. It's a common lawn weed. We find this all over the place in our backyard. They come in little bunches, so you have the root and then several stems, and often a flower that comes out of the middle, and then the root. So we are always cautioned when we eat this because we think that the animals have peed all over it and it's not good for you and all that. So well, that might be true, but it is an oxalis, which is oxalic acid, and it inhibits the absorption of calcium. So that would be one reason why you wouldn't want to be eating too much of the sourgrass. It's also not recommended for those who have gout or rheumatism or kidney stones to eat lots of sourgrass because it can make the problem worse. But you can use the leaves in salads, leaves in flowers. You can make a tea with it. And I've also read that you can use the plant to make dye, a natural dye. It makes a yellow or orange dye that you can dye your clothes in. So that's sourgrass. Here's some dandelions. This is an edible weed that you can use the roots, leaves, buds, and flowers. You can eat it. You can make teas. The root is used as a coffee substitute. The leaves can be used in a salad or boiled into a soup. You can take the flowers and add to omelets or cakes, or you can use the flowers as decoration. and they're very high in vitamins and minerals, and there's lots of medicinal uses for dandelion. So dandelions can be used for a lot of different things: heart, anemia, respiratory issues, cuts. It can help with nervousness. But with anything that you find in the wild, before you forage, you got to make sure that you are correct in what you're looking at to make sure that you're picking the right thing. And also you want to know what to pick and how to pick it, which parts of the plant. Okay, so here we have the Belladonna, which is a nightshade. It is in the nightshade family, which is like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, potatoes. So these are the flowers, right? These right here are the flowers, and then they will turn into black berries. And the stalk is pretty big. This stalk is different colors, red and green, or purple and green. And the leaves have a distinct shape. So the foliage and the berries are toxic. The roots are the most poisonous, and they can cause vomiting, diarrhea. Hello chickies, look at, I have a whole bunch of onlookers. Hello chickies, what's up? What's up? So anyway, the effects, if a child were to eat one of the berries that grow on here, it'll taste sweet, but it only takes 2 berries to kill a child, which is why it's an important weed to know, because the berries look like blueberries. This plant can help a lot of different remedies, but it is best if you know how to use it, and make sure that you do all of your research and consult with a herbalist or naturalist, because if you are to use this plant, then you want to make sure that you're using it correctly. Happy dog. Pepper. What are you doing? What are you doing, Pepper? Okay, Ginger, I see you too. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted just to remind you that the things that are growing on the ground aren't always pesky weeds. A lot of them have good functions and have been around for centuries and have lots and lots of good health uses. Also, another reminder to consult your doctor or someone who has herbal knowledge before you go out and explore your backyard or nature trail and start foraging. Okay, so I will see you in the next video, and bye.